Studios. I am your host, Daniel-san, and this is another fan questions debate video. Now, we're going to start off with some questions that I missed that should have been on my last video, but the commenter commented after I made the video, because I made it kind of ahead of time. So, we're going to start off with C19's questions. I think in the response to my previous question in reference to Robbie's mom, I think he has realized that his father isn't the man she brought him up believing he is, and now she is checking out of rehab and attacking him and Daniel, who has been nothing but good to him in his teenage mind. And he will be very irritated that she's out of rehab and acting like she's better than them. P.S. I think Daniel turns his back on Robbie every chance he has got. I think he was good for Robbie, but in my opinion, the man acts like Robbie is a problem every chance he gets. You know, that's a good point, you know. It would be an interesting way for Robbie's mom to come back, you know, because there's a lot of speculation she's going to check out of rehab and come back anyways. And there's even a lot of speculation that that's who she's looking at whenever we see him in that little teaser clip, which I guess is possible, you know. Now, I kind of get what you mean with how Daniel kind of turned his back on Robbie in a way. And it seems like that even got more so after you realized that Robbie was Johnny's, you know, kid. I feel like I don't know. I just feel like he got, like, his motivation towards Robbie changed in its own way. That's just kind of how I feel. On to the next one from C19. In reference to Bay Area questions about the Johnny paying more attention to Miguel than Robbie, this has been an issue of mine since I started watching the show, because at the end of Season 2, Robbie is being blamed for just losing his head. He is a teen. They're stupid and it happens, but nobody is even concerned or even asked where Robbie is or asked if anyone's heard from him. If it was my kid or even one I had worked with and claimed to care about, I wouldn't be beating myself up because I should have trained him better. I'd be wondering where he is and if he's okay. Maybe I'm just a southern boy, but I worry about my kids and kids I've been connected to. Yeah, like, seriously though. We understand, you know, I know you understand too that, you know, the attention was all on Miguel because he got injured, but at the same time, yeah, you know, like, no one seemed to really care how Robbie felt, or at least it wasn't shown yet. Maybe they might in Season 3, you know. But at that point in time, it really wasn't shown at all. You know what I mean? Like, seriously. It's almost like they just was like, we're going to just worry about Miguel, and, you know, Robbie's this bad person. He did this, so why care about him when, you know, yeah, he's a teen. Teens make mistakes. I was a teenager. Everybody was a teenager at one point in time. Some of you are probably teenagers right now. People make mistakes, and it happens a lot as being a kid and being a teenager. Growing up, you know, you make life lessons. You learn from your mistakes. Things happen, you got to become a better person from it. Don't let it, you know, tear you down. You know, that's the way of life, and honesty. On to the next one from C19. I do not think they're going to kill off Kreese. It just doesn't make sense. Plus, murder and revenge is not something that they have gone into, not in the Cobra Kai movies or the shows. I don't feel they're going to do that route. I feel Daniel's mom, Sid, and Sato are going to be your deaths. I for sure think Daniel's mom and Sid's, you know, going to be the death. The reason I say Kreese is a possibility is because just how hyped up they've really made the last 90 seconds out to be, you know. It's like, got to think outside the box the way that they're explaining it, you know. So I'm just trying to think of something super elaborate that's going to really blow our minds, and that's something I can kind of see being a possibility of something that would really shock us all if they was to do something along those lines. So that's my reasoning with it. Now, who knows, though? You might be right, though. It might not be, like, I don't know. Because there's so much hype, though, that it's going to be a main character, though, that's going to, like, die or be taken from the show. And it's like, who's it going to be, you know? Who do you think it is, you know? It's like, it's a really, really tough situation, in my opinion. On to the next one from C19. I know I'm commenting way too much tonight, but as far as the deed going to Daniel, maybe it went to Julie's grandma and Julie got it from her in a will. That would be an interesting way to pull her into it. No, don't worry about it. You can comment it as many times as you want to. I mean, if we have to make 2 videos to go over the fan questions, that's always fine, you know. So, never feel like you're commenting too much. But yeah, that is a big possibility that could be a way for them to bring Julie back into the show without actually having to, I don't know. I could just see it being a big possibility of a way for them to bring her back into the show. It's just kind of a mind puzzler, though, if that's how they would do it. You know, her grandma giving her the deed or whatever. Because nobody really knows if everybody's pretty sure Daniel has it or whatever because of how close he was with Mr. Miyagi and all that. But we don't exactly know, because we do know that they were very close. They really was. We don't know exactly how close him and Julie was either, you know. So I guess it could be a possibility of something that they could honestly do, I guess, you know. I can't rule it out. On to the next comment from Cobra Kai Nation. Another great YouTuber. If you're not following him, go check him out. He makes some awesome videos and does some great interviews and stuff, so definitely go check him out as well. And his comment is, I think we could lose a side character like Daniel LaRusso's mom, or even a big character in the next final. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think Daniel's mom might actually be a big possibility of a death in the show, as well as Sid, because I feel like the Sid has a lot of I guess you could say it would lead to a lot more things that can happen, in my opinion, if they was to kill Sid off. Because then it leaves the whole who's gonna inherit his house and inherit his money and all this stuff. Now, of course, Sid could have real kids that might get it. He could have a new wife we don't know about that might get it. You know, it depends. But it's going to be interesting to see, nonetheless, where and how that plays out. And if it even does. On to the next comment from Alan Smith. Kreese, Hawk, and me, if anything happens to Sam. You're too funny, Alan. On to the next one from Aaron. Who taught Tory how to use weapons? You know, that's another one of those questions of how does Tory know so many things that she does, you know? It's like, I mean, it's possible that she just kind of was self-taught, you know. She could have just had kickboxing and boxing experience. But in my opinion, she knew a little too much about certain things is why it always had me a little puzzled, you know what I mean? Like, she knew how to flip Miguel over, pivoting her weight to perform that move. And a lot of things that normally you wouldn't be taught in kickboxing or boxing, because it's not what you do in kickboxing, you know what I mean, or boxing. But that's just kind of my speculation that I've always took on it. It's really, really weird. Now, how she learned weapons that's kind of the same thing. I feel like she had a different trainer. I feel like she had someone that we don't know about, which a lot of people speculate Silver, you know, and I guess it could be. On to the next one from T-Girl009. My guess at the moment are the 3 deaths. 1, Daniel's mother, Lucille. 2, Johnny's stepdad, Sid, or possibly Robbie's mother, and then 3, Kreese at the end. Yeah, I agree with that, actually, T-Girl. I never thought of Robbie's mom being the, I know, I have kind of, but, and I've heard a lot of people speculate, you know, and I've seen a lot of people comment on my videos even that it's possibly going to be Robbie's mom that dies, and, you know, I guess it's possible, you know. And on to the next one from Aaron. Do you think that Tory was lying about taking kickboxing class lessons? No, I don't think she was lying. Like, I believe she probably did take kickboxing lessons as well, but it just seems like she knows a little more than just kickboxing and boxing, in my opinion. She does have, like, a boxing, kickboxing type stance, though, so I will give her that. Like, it's not that I assume she never took kickboxing or any of that. It's just I feel like there's more to her story than we know. And I feel like when we get her backstory, we'll probably figure out what that is, you know? That's just my kind of opinion. I want to know what you all think, though. Do you think she was lying about taking kickboxing lessons in general, or do you think she did take kickboxing lessons, but also has some other training from somebody else? Or you think she just learned on her own? Because it is possible, you know. Yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. On to the next one from Tom Courtney. I reckon we will see Kreese or one of either Cobra Kai or Miyagi-Do students die. Ooh. The students. Yes, I've seen this a lot, actually, lately. And there's some really good theories out there how it could be possibly Hawk that passes. It could be someone else from, you know, Miyagi-Do or from Cobra Kai, one of the not-so-known students. So that is a very interesting one. Honestly, Tom, it's just I'm not exactly sure which student would die if it was, you know. Like, from Cobra Kai, Hawk is such a main character, but I kind of can see him being a death, maybe not like on purpose, but like an accidental type situation. But I just don't feel that they would want to take Hawk out of the show quite yet. At least I wouldn't if I was the writer. But, you know, if they do, then they're doing it for a good reason. These writers are putting this show together in a brilliant way that, you know, got to respect their choices for what they're gonna do regardless. So if they do take Hawk out for any given reason, there's got to be a reason behind it. And I'm sure we'll see that in Season 4 or whatever, or maybe even in Season 3 if it happens, you know. I guess that's something we could expect. But on to the next one from Ozair. If Sid dies, will his wealth go to Johnny or Robbie? In the last season, will Kreese go to jail this time for teaching bad karate? If Daniel wins the tournament, will his business flourish? Will Sam be with Robbie or Miguel? Will Tory be with Miguel or Robbie? Nice questions, Azar. Okay, we'll start with the first one. This one's something that I have been puzzled with for months now. I think because of Johnny giving Sid his money back, that's going to change Sid's opinion on Johnny, and I do think he might leave Johnny his inheritance, his wealth, But it just kind of depends. Now, if Sid's still on bad terms with Johnny, I could see him leaving it to Robbie kind of as a slap in the face. But then again, I don't even know if Sid knows much about Robbie, It doesn't seem like he would know Robbie too much. So, obviously, he'd know he's Johnny's kid, but it just isn't really shown that he actually knows Robbie too much. And I don't know. That one's an interesting one that I've been puzzled on for a while. And I want to hear all your opinions, what you kind of think about it. What do you think? Let's just assume for sure Sid's dying. Where's his wealth gonna go? Is it gonna go to Johnny or Robbie? Is it gonna go to someone completely different, or is it not gonna even be mentioned because it's just not important to the show for whatever purpose or reason? Now, will Kreese go to jail for teaching bad karate? No, I don't think he'll go to jail for teaching bad karate. But if he got into it at the wrong time with the wrong person, the wrong location, he might could go to jail for some reason along those lines, you know what I mean? But on to your other question, if Daniel wins the tournament, will his business flourish? I would say kind of a 50-50 chance of yes and no there. Honestly, I feel like they already know him in the valley and everywhere as it is, and I don't think he really even needs that to make his business flourish. I think it's already kind of flourishing, but considering the show is about Cobra Kai, I just don't think that's something they really bring up, you know what I mean? Will Sam and Robbie be together? Now, I think Robbie will still have a lot of deep feelings for Sam because, he seemed really, really close to her. And even after her doing what she did with Miguel, kissing, he still had her back, you know what I mean, like during the school fight. So it's like, I guess we could wait to see. Personally, though, I think Miguel and Sam could end up back together. But then again, Miguel and Tory could remain together. It is very possible. Tory might look past what happened and still stay with Miguel. But then again, it's going to be the same for Robbie. He'd have to look past the same situation for Sam. If that be the case, then I'm sure we'll see some crazy fights, bickerments, whatever be the case from them. I just could see that happening, like with Miguel and Robbie again, obviously. But then again, I don't know. I guess it's going to depend on how Robbie's motivation towards everything is after, him hurting Miguel and the seriousness that he did. What's that going to lead to, On to the next one from Lisa. Thank you, Daniel-san, for the interaction with the fans. Stay badass. Of course. I always have fun with you all. Like I said, you're all a part of my channel. We all hang out. We all comment together. We enjoy the premieres together. We all interact with one another. I like you all to be just as much a part of my channel as I am, I feel like that's a lot of fun for not just myself, but for you all. It gives you a place to interact and just kind of hang out with everyone, get to know each other, debate our theories and ideas together, and just have a fun time doing it, I know we're all patient as we can, waiting for Season 3 to, release, and once it does, I'm sure that these fan question videos are going to be crazy because we're going to have so many different new theories and so many new things. Like, the first few fan question videos, like the day of release, will probably not even be fan questions, but be just more of a longer premieres to kind of discuss what we've seen in Season 3, kind of breakdowns and stuff like that, you know what I mean? If there's fights, then I'll do some more fight breakdowns, because I haven't done one in a while. I've been more enjoying these fan question videos and the versus type videos, and just trying a lot of new things. I'm still a newer YouTuber to the Cobra Kai community, so of course there's a lot of things that I'm gonna make videos on that many people have already talked about for years now, or whatever be the case. But now that I'm in the community making videos, at least now going forward into Season 3, we'll all, as a big community of YouTubers and everything, have the ability and chance to just kind of go over things fresh, new things. It'll be a lot of fun, But that's why I do the fight breakdowns, because they're a lot of fun too. I haven't seen too many people or YouTubers do it, but I think it's a lot of fun. I know there's quite a bit of YouTubers that I follow personally, like Sensei Seth and such, that are martial artists, and they do incorporate the martial arts into their YouTube about Cobra Kai, which is really awesome, because that's what I do myself, I haven't in a little while now, but then, you know, there's still going to be those videos, and then there's going to be a lot of different behind-the-scene videos of stuff, and quite a bit of different things that we'll be doing along the lines of Cobra Kai and martial arts in general. On to the next one from Jeff Bayless. 3 best would be Johnny, Daniel, then Sam, since she learned from Mr. Miyagi and had been training since she was 5. See, that's kind of how I feel, too. That's why it's, like, kind of hard to choose between her or Tory being the better fighter. It's like, you know, I don't know. We don't know enough about Tory, but we can know that Sam has been training for a long time. She trained with her dad, and you know she had to have trained with Mr. Miyagi, too. It just seems inevitable to try to rule that out, that it never happened, you know what I mean? But it does make you wonder, you know. Is it possible that she did train with Mr. Miyagi? Because I think it is. I think it's pretty likely that it actually happened. So that's why it's kind of a hard debate to choose who's a better fighter. It's kind of like, they're both really good, and it's hard to, you know, like I have an upcoming top 5 worst characters in Cobra Kai, which is honestly hard to do because it's like nobody's a worst. They're not really bad characters. It's just, as far as ranking, they're not my favorites. So that's where I kind of stand on that. And that's how it is in that video. I even explained them, like, you know, they're not really like the worst characters. Some of them are. Some are kind of pretty bad. But anyways, we'll save that for that video. On to the next comment from Tom. One observation I made in Season 2, when Miguel and Tory were in the dojo practicing round kicks, Tory said about her mother getting fired from the restaurant, Tory wasn't pivoting on her foot when she was kicking the pad down. 2, Peyton, a.k.a. Tory, list, actually never trained in martial arts before Cobra Kai. That's very possible, and that is a good observation. I love that observation that you made, because it is true, you know. And when you're doing roundhouse kicks, you have to pivot you have to pivot your foot, you know. If you don't, you can honestly hurt yourself. You could sprain your ankle. I've seen it done when I was in martial arts. There's a couple of kids that wasn't picking up on the whole having to learn to pivot their foot when doing certain kicks and stuff, and it can cause injuries. It causes bad form. So, you know, that's something you really got to pick up on and learn pretty early, I feel like. And thankfully I did, and it helped me progress in a lot of the kicks, the roundhouse kicks, the jump spinning roundhouse kicks, all that kind of stuff. You got to learn to pivot, even for a side kick, snapping side kick, whatever be the case. You got to pivot your heels, you know. And it's something you don't always see these characters do, which is like a good point and observation that they probably never had no training in martial arts before joining the show for Cobra Kai. On to the next one from Lisa. Thank you, Cobra Kai Studio. Stay badass, everybody. Until next time. For sure. Always try my best, you know, and I always tell y'all stay badass as well. On to Nick. I love the videos. Keep up the great work, but honestly, I've been trying to predict what the last 90 seconds will be, but it's got to be so crazy that nobody can actually predict it. It will be so unexpected, it will shock everyone. You know, you're absolutely right, Nick, and that's how I feel too. That's why I'm like, I throw my ideas of what I think, but at the same time, it's like, they're probably completely wrong. These writers know what they're doing with this show, and they know how to really draw attention to certain details and draw us in as a fan base to want more. And, you know, at the same time, they also know how to surprise the hell out of us, and I feel like that's something that's going to happen. Who knows? Maybe nobody has guessed what's going to happen in the 90 seconds right yet. You know, maybe a couple of people have. We don't exactly know, but we do know for sure we are getting closer, and that's exciting. On to the next one from Quiet Lighten. Chosen, I have a bad feeling about it that I can't shake. I think it's part of the show, and if so, that's entertainment. And I know what you're talking about. You're talking about Chosen being a possible death in the show. Now, until you brought that up, Quiet, I never thought of Chosen being a possible death in the show. But I guess it could be possible, and what that could leave to open up into the show is no tellings. Like, I mean, where's that? If that happens, what's gonna happen with that? You know, like, where can that actually go? So that has me really puzzled. If Chosen was to die, what do you all think would happen? I want to know your opinions on this one, because, like I said, I never even thought of it, so I don't really have much of an opinion on it. It's just, it makes me wonder, could that be a possibility? And if so, how's it going to affect the show? On to the next one from T-Girl009. What if Silver is revealed to be training someone really surprising in Season 3, like Miguel? If Miguel rejects Johnny at first and doesn't want to join Cobra Kai either, and of course, Miyagi-Do is no more for a while, so Zolo said something recently about how Miguel might feel betrayed by Johnny at first. I do think eventually he will end up back with Johnny, though. Their connection is too genuine. Yeah, you know, he really did say, you know, that Miguel might... I remember seeing that as well, that Miguel might feel betrayed by Johnny at first, and that's where it's had me puzzled. But at first I thought, this is my thoughts before I'd seen his comment or post about that Miguel was going to get out of the hospital and right away go to Johnny. But that's when I started thinking, well, maybe he'll go to Cobra Kai and kind of see what's going on and see and realize Johnny's not there. Maybe train a little bit with Kreese, but then end up leaving. But him being trained by Silver, I never thought of. I really didn't. I don't know why it never crossed my mind. But if Silver was to return for some reason and be there at the dojo at Cobra Kai, that could be a possibility that we could expect to see. Obviously Silver and Kreese are very close. And how Kreese and Johnny were training students will be something I think we'd see Silver and Kreese doing. But Kreese and Silver are along the same line, so if that's the case, maybe it will happen and Miguel won't like the way that they're training him. And that would be when he leaves to go back to Johnny kind of situation. Because, yes, I feel for sure that it's very possible that, someone could train Miguel until he goes back to Johnny. But their connection is too genuine, and he looks up to Johnny as like a father figure, so that's why I feel like he's going to go back to him. On to the next comment from Melissa Mitchell. I like your video, but the background is very distracting, just my opinion. Hey, everybody's allowed to voice their opinions. I imagine some of these are, I always try to make every video background loop different, Now, the loops are not always going to be a thing like this. I got more equipment coming as time goes. You're all going to actually get to see me talk to you instead of just hearing me over a screen, so things will change as I go, and then if they are distracting, let me know so I don't use things like this again, so if anybody else feels the same way, don't hesitate to let me know. I ain't gonna take no offense to anything, I'm a new YouTuber, gotta learn from your mistakes, you gotta learn what people like and don't like, so if it affects you and you just, it's very distracting, that's fine, let me know so I can try to not make them distracting like that, because they're not meant to be distracting, they're just kind of meant to be something to keep on the background and keep interesting kind of situation, and I guess listen to me ramble on. On to the next one from Junior. My list of who I think would die this season. Robbie's mom from drugs. 2, Daniel's mom from natural cause. And 3, Kreese. But I just don't know how he would die. That's a good way to explain it. Yeah, that would be a possibility of how Robbie's mom could die. That's a good way of explaining how Robbie's mom could die and Daniel's mom. Kreese, I'm kind of the same there. I'm like, if they're going to take Kreese out, how are they going to do it? Like, what do you all think would be a way for them to take Kreese out? Because in my opinion, it's just like, I don't know exactly how they would do that. But I guess it's possible. On to the next one from Jeff. If you look on Wikipedia, the art form Okinawa from Karate Masters is referred to as Cobra style. I have been saying since the beginning, the two are connected. Sato trained Cobra Kai style. Mr. Miyagi's trained his style. So the more something is different, the more it is the same. Nice. That's a brilliant comment, Jeff. I love that. That's really awesome. And it's, really, really true, though. It is. And it's very possible that, that there's more that we're going to learn to that in Season 3. And I just have a feeling that we will. On to the next comment from Dylan Runs. Saw you on Bonsai Kai Dojo premiere. Well, thanks for checking out my page, man. I appreciate it. And yes, if y'all ain't subscribed to Bonsai Kai Dojo, go subscribe to him. What are you doing here? Go subscribe. On to the next one from Jeff. There's just a post from Josh Hayden on Twitter saying that it will be out 1 minute after midnight on January 7th. He recommended watching the first 2 and then binge watching the rest over the weekend since the episodes are longer. If you do the math, we're going to get an extra 2 episodes as far as time goes. I'm going to be honest, Jeff, there is no way in hell I'm not going to binge watch the whole episode, or whole season in the same night. Like, I know it's recommended by them to not, but, for me, I'm assuming it'll be like 1 a.m. because, like, every show that I wait for and, try to watch as soon as it airs always seems to be 1 o'clock a.m. my time for some reason. I don't know why. I think maybe it's because when it's released globally, I think it's released at different times per section of, the time zone. And I think that's why it's 1 a.m. for me. But personally, there's going to be no way for me to just not watch the whole season, it's going to happen. And whether I have to stay up all night, whatever be the case. And then I'm going to have to make some videos on it too, because that's going to be exciting news to talk about. On to the next comment from Roy. Maybe they made Amanda such a narcissist with nothing in common in Daniel, so we won't feel bad when they divorce and Daniel ends up with Kamiko. And their love child, she never told him about. That's actually possible though, Roy. When you commented that, I've been thinking about it for the last 2 days, and it kind of could make sense that's why they made Amanda's character such like, not likable but for us, and if it's possible, then that's gonna, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna get a divorce though, but a lot of people, including myself, have some speculation that it could happen. I just don't know that that's something they're gonna want to do in the show, but I guess you can't rule it out. Like, I mean, like, he could piss Amanda off so bad that she's like, you know what, I'm just done with you, and things move to that direction and they get a divorce. I mean, I guess you can't rule it out as a possibility. You got to keep your minds open to ideas that we wouldn't expect, because these writers know how to really throw us for a loop and make some brilliant, creative, and very entertaining content. So I wouldn't rule it out. On to the next one from Jeff. If you look in the background, and one of the other Cobra Kai students who never say anything but shook his head when everyone else left Cobra Kai, it is one of Kyler's gang members from the very first episode. So is it just a plant for Kyler to take over Cobra Kai? I never noticed that. Honestly, Jeff, I really didn't. I never did notice that that's possibly, one of the gang members that was, friends of Kyler, basically to say. So if that's the case, was that kind of a hint that Kyler would be joining eventually? Or was it just randomness because they needed extra characters to fit the spots in the show? That could be a possibility too. It's like a stand-in, basically. On to the next one from Mr. Bay Area. Hey, Sensei, I'm answering your question from your last video when you said what would be the last 90 seconds of Season 3. This is my take on it. I think it'll be Johnny, Daniel, and Miguel will go to Cobra Kai and tell Kreese that they're going to challenge him at the next All-Valley tournament, and he'll gladly accept. And then he starts laughing and tells them, both of them, that he has a surprise for them. And then he said, the first surprise is for you, Daniel. And then Silver starts walking out and laughs at Daniel. And then Silver and Kreese both look at each other and start laughing really loud and then say, if you think that was a surprise, we got an even bigger one for you, Johnny. And then you see Robbie walking out wearing a Cobra Kai gi. And Johnny and Daniel are just in complete and utter shock. And Miguel's reaction, just nothing but straight up anger and rage because he wants to fight him. The final scene is Johnny, Daniel, and Miguel on one side, Kreese, Silver, and Robbie on the other, facing each other. That's a brilliant idea that you got there, Mr. Bay Area. That is very interesting. Now, if that's how the last 90 seconds kind of situation plays out, that's going to be shocking. Me personally, though, I feel like they're going to bring Silver back before that. But they could still bring him back to the show without Johnny, Daniel, and Miguel knowing he's back, if you know what I mean. They could technically still bring him back sooner, but without Johnny and them actually being at the dojo, they wouldn't have no idea unless someone told them. So that's an actual possibility. Now, will it actually play out like that? I don't know, but it is a possibility nonetheless that it's going to be exciting to see what happens. Because if it does, I'll remember you commenting in that Bay Area. That's going to be interesting if it does, man. Let me tell you. But that's going to be it for this fan questions video. I hope y'all had a great time hanging out, chatting, debating everybody's questions, enjoying Cobra Kai in general. As I always say, thank you, Bonsai Kai Dojo. I really appreciate you and Guest Sensei. Y'all have done so much for me, got me into the community, got me making videos, having fun with you all, and it's I can't share my appreciation enough. I want to say thank you to all of you that are subscribed to me or not. But as always, everyone, that's going to be it for this one. I hope you have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you on the next one. And as I always say, stay badass. Have a good one, everyone.